All right, so this is our first G2U live session. Basically, what we're going to cover is one of our most popular G2 University courses called the Review Rundown. So if you're interested, you can actually take the Review Rundown course, and I'll pop the link to it right in the chat. Oops, wrong link. Let's see. Right here. And if you click that link, it'll just have you register and you can take the course. But basically, my name is Erin Boyd, and I'm the Customer Education and Marketing Manager here at G2. And I'm joined by Nicole Quillo, who is one of our product marketing managers. So let's just go over a few housekeeping rules. So we want this to be conversational. We want it to be interactive. So you can go ahead, use that raise hand function on Zoom, or you can even just come off of mute, pop your question in the chat, however you like as we're going through this. If you think of a question after this session, I'm also going to add Nicole and I's LinkedIn's right here. So just feel free to message us anytime with anything that you might need. And this is being recorded, so we will place it on our office hours landing page. And also on that landing page, you'll see all of our previous office hours. And finally, like I mentioned, this is based on one of our G2U courses, the Review Rundown, and that is live in My G2. So all you have to do is log into My G2, click the little question mark in the top right-hand corner, and click on G2 University. And right now we have 12 courses live, and they range from buyer intent courses to the anatomy of your G2 profile. So I highly recommend taking those courses there. A little bit more about office hours is we host these monthly on different topics. A lot of them are about buyer intent, review generation, things along those lines, and we'd love to see you at them all. So today's topics, we're going to be going over just super basic, what are reviews and why they're important. Then we're going to move into the 4 pillars of review collection. Then we'll talk about out-of-the-box review generation strategies. And finally, how to maximize reviews. And then we always like to leave some time at the end for a group discussion. So to get us started, I'll pass it over to Nicole.
Thanks, Erin. Like Erin mentioned, I am Nicole. I'm a product marketing manager on the team, and I work really closely with the teams that bring new review collection methods to you all, as well as our profiles and My G2. But before we get started, I wanted to start with a quick poll. Erin, if you don't mind launching it for us. The question on a lot of people's minds when it comes to reviews, negative reviews, they are unfortunately inevitable, but they can be such a learning experience. So closing that poll, have you ever gotten a negative review? Spoiler alert, everyone here has. Okay, so moving on, including myself. So I just wanted to set the stage with, we're all human. Reviews, negative and positive, are inevitable in this market. So for me, I teach Pilates on the side as I got started. No one comes in an expert getting started, and I landed myself at 2-star review. I could have been a little bit less choppy in the flow and maybe a little bit more encouraging. So I took that in and have started to get more 5-star reviews and gotten a lot better as an instructor myself. Oh, and Taylor, here we are again. All right, so unlocking a healthy review collection strategy. Really, any company or customer product marketer can have a different strategy depending on their needs for the collection. But for us, we try to stick to these 4 best practices, which will open up opportunities for you and us to think creatively and supercharge our review collection. So first and foremost, don't solely reach out to your best customers. Having only glowing reviews that are 5 stars actually will make you look a little bit less credible and leave your potential buyers thinking, really? They're that perfect? So asking for reviews from everyone is always your best bet, and you'll find those great insights coming through as well, even when they might seem negative to you. Also, asking for reviews consistently will help your product profile stay relevant for your potential customers coming through. So think of yourself as a consumer going on to maybe Amazon, looking at reviews, and the last review was from 3 years ago. You might ask yourself, well, what's happened in the last 3 years? Why hasn't there been a review? Also, using a holistic approach to collection helps you maximize your review volume. So not putting all of your eggs in one basket, but really trying to get creative with where your reviews may come in when you least expect it. And lastly, responding to reviews, simply put, doesn't only help you potentially right your wrongs by responding, but it allows you to celebrate accomplishments and positive feedback. And not to mention, it just gives your profile a more human touch.
So Nicole, I know that when we revamped our review form, you went in, you responded to reviews. Do you have an example of that?
I do. So a little bit earlier this year, I cannot believe we're almost in December, halfway through November, we did update our review form. We took in a lot of feedback from our G2 profile itself that the review form could be enhanced. It was a little bit clunky, took a long time. The questions could be formatted in a different way. So we took that all in and made updates to the review form. If you haven't submitted a new review form since then, review for any software you use, we highly recommend you try it out. But in the spirit of transparency and responding back to our reviews and kind of drinking our own champagne and following through on our best practices, we went through and responded to reviews that were relevant to this feedback. So Pooja here had feedback on the review form, how it was lengthy, wanted it to be shorter. So went in, made that feedback, and then took the opportunity to say, hey, would you mind updating your review or write a new review? So just going the extra mile to say thank you, right the wrong, share what's new, and then ask for that update. Okay. While I am in here also, I want to share a little bit more into the asking for reviews consistently because this is newer for G2. So recently we made a little bit of an update to the algorithm where we now will score reviews a little bit higher when they are more recent. Because again, think of yourself as the consumer, you want to see those recent reviews coming through. Now we understand that it's not always easy to capture reviews depending on your company, but it is in favor for the buyer to help you convert at a better rate. So moving into the review activity page, I just wanted to show you a quick snapshot of the review decay. Again, we want it to be more transparent for everyone collecting reviews to understand where they fall in age. So like I said, at that 90 mark, then there's going to be a slight decline in the scoring percentage. But it really doesn't start to dip until or taper down until the 18-month. So here you can see that there's quite a few reviews for G2 laying in the older buckets. And so to make things even a little bit more easy for you, you can click into those reviews, see where they land, and kind of make an effort to go through, maybe see what the reviews were about. Did you make changes to your product since then? Can you respond to those reviews and ask for an update? So closing that loop there, hopefully that review chart makes it easier for you to see the reviews in a different way than ever before. Okay, I'll pause. That was a lot. Any questions so far? Okay. Again, you can always come off mute, throw it in the chat. Yes, the chart is clickable, very, very helpful for myself as well. Okay, so again, review gathering in the wild. I just wanted to show a couple great examples of the different ways you can gather reviews. You probably have heard of these before, but hopefully maybe there's something new here for you. Getting creative, of course, we'll start with our bread and butter, that G2 Run review campaign. Most of you probably on this call have done one of these before with our support team where we really do all the heavy lifting. We get the list from you, we send the email cadences out, and then you just watch those reviews come in. You also have those organic reviews. These are great and They perform very well by Stephanie. They perform very well within the scoring because they're organic. So there's been no incentive. There has been no really prompted reason for them to come in and give you a review. It's just organic. They were on G2. They're giving you a review. Again, we have the vendor run side. So similar to that G2 run campaign, but this time the vendor is responsible for creating that email, getting that landing page linked into their email and sending it off into their requests. G2 Gives is a review campaign where we will donate to a charity of your choice, and each company can choose which charity they would like to give to from a list of preferred partners, and G2 will donate $10 per approved review. I'll pause. Feel free to pop off mute, Sierra.
Hi, yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So
Yeah.
quick question on something you just said. Let's see. So organic reviews are weighted differently in the algorithm than like incentivized or G2 Gives reviews. I didn't realize that.
Yes. So I try to, it's very kind of hard to describe like off the cuff, but when obviously an algorithm is an algorithm, right? But with organic, thinking about it as a buyer yourself, when you come through and you are unprompted to write a review, that should be celebrated for that vendor, because there's been no really outreach for asking for it or asking or giving them a monetary gift after. Now, that's not to say that incentivizing or segmenting for regions or whatever you have is not good, okay? This is just supposed to be another layer, an additional layer to the holistic review collection strategy. So we always say, yes, those organic reviews will be celebrated because, wow, what an achievement for someone to come in and be unprompted to write a review just from, being happy, hopefully. But also, then you're collecting from all these other places as well, just again, getting that flywheel going.
No, that's interesting because I know, psychologically that seeing that organic tag is impactful. I just didn't realize that the algorithm was treating it differently as well. So that's interesting to know.
Yes, that was a little bit of a background on there, but I can also share when I hop off my talk through the methodology page as well. So you can get more info into like the nitty-gritty details.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I looked at that. I just didn't never catch that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Review booth is also a great strategy to take if you have conferences or events on a yearly, monthly, whatever have you basis. G2 can come and meet your customers where they are at, live and in person, and collect reviews right there. Lastly, or second to last, there is a new collection feature that just came out about a month ago. If you haven't heard about it, it is called the Review Us button. So it's simply that. It is a button that you can embed anywhere on your website, in app, and it also prompts the short form, making it a little bit easier for those reviewers. I'll take a peek at the chat right after this one. The dynamic in-app ask is through our API review collection method. So this is very, very customizable. As you can see, the button is a button. You can customize the color, but that's really about it. If you really wanted to get creative, you can work through the review collection API. And also we have integrations with Pendo, Medallia, and Delighted. And you can do something similar to this visual here in the bottom right-hand corner. Yes, partner reviews treated differently. I don't want to misspeak, but they are weighted a little bit differently than customer reviews just because they are partners and not a customer. And there can be underlying bias.
So let's say you've exhausted all of these avenues, but you still want to gather more reviews. So what do? You think outside of the box. So I'm going to go over several options that you have to ask for more reviews. The first one being support tickets. So this one might be one that you haven't thought of, But basically, whenever you have a support ticket resolved, you can ask your customer to leave you a review. And actually, at my last job, I was in charge of asking for reviews from support tickets. So basically, we would resolve the ticket in Zendesk, and we had a macro that just said, "Hey, thank you for reaching out to us. We would love it if you left us a review." And we were actually able to collect a lot of great feedback from there. And then if we go to the next slide, we have email signatures. So this is another easy way to get more reviews, because whenever the recipient clicks on the Review Us button, oh, sorry, Nicole, can you go to the next one? Thank you. It's okay. But whenever the recipient of that email clicks on the email signature Review Us button, it'll direct them directly to the review form. So there's no friction there. They just click the button, taken directly to the review form, and they're able to leave their review. Next is newsletters. So I'm in charge of our newsletter. I'm sure some of you are in charge of your newsletters, and you know that that goes out to probably a good bit of your customer base. So what better time to ask for a review than from your newsletter? You can grab the attention of your monthly readers, and you can also add the Review Us widget, or like in this example that I just found in the wild, actually, right before this call, they added a line in their newsletter, actually just calling out that you can leave a review and that it's also incentivized. Blog posts. So we all know how important blog posts are, not only for thought leadership, but also for your SEO, for building your brand. So creating a blog post that specifically calls out and asks for reviews is an easy way to get more coverage on your product page, especially if you can add a Review Us widget on the bottom of the blog. And then finally, internal competitions. So this one is really interesting to think about, because at G2, we actually ran an internal competition to get more G2 reviews, which might seem a little funny, but like Nicole said, we like to drink our own champagne. So we ran an internal competition, and we were actually able to generate 70 new reviews in 4 weeks. And the way we did that was, of course, having that healthy sense of competition, but also incentivizing our RMs and CSMs to get those reviews just as an additional motivator. So I'm curious if anyone on the call has leveraged any other methods we haven't shared. And if you have, feel free to hop off mute. Well, one thing that we've seen is asking at QBRs is another great time. Renewals, if you have any customer touch points where really you can get in front of them and ask for feedback, that's a great time to get more reviews there. So now let's hop into the different ways you can leave reviews. So there's 2 different formats. The first, of course, most popular, written reviews. And these are obviously text-based, but they can give a broader scope of the use of your product, because the review form goes into more depth than video reviews, which we'll get to in a second. But I do want to go over the written review submission process, because a lot of people are curious about what it looks like from the customer side. So basically, it's a simple 5-step process that we have outlined right there. Yep. And basically, the user will leave a review, and G2 will do all the heavy lifting after it's submitted. So Nicole, I was wondering, is there an average that we can share about how long it takes to leave a review?
Making sure I'm off mute. Yes. So we would say usually it takes around anywhere between 7 to 10 minutes, depending on the depth. Of course, we have the short form that is activated at review booths, or those in-app review collection levers, like I mentioned. And just as important as that completion is important, so are the conversion rates. So each time the team creates a new review collection method, our goal is to increase conversion, so more reviews are hitting your profile. So looking at that time to completion, but also how easy is it to complete, resulting in more conversion. Good question.
Looks like we got a question in the chat, Nicole. I don't know if you want to touch on it. but basically asking, when it comes to international customers, are reviews treated differently?
First pass of looking at that is no. Depending on the region that you're in, they are not weighted differently. There are different market presence scoring that is involved into your G2 score, but that does not have anything to do with the reviews themselves. Feel free to pop in there, Sierra.
Right. So it's actually kind of sort of tangentially related to Lindsay's question. So we do have a lot of international customers, and I know that they're weighted the same, all of that. But I understand that some reviews that y'all detect incorporate AI, like, or have been run through an AI thing, that those can be rejected. And so because we have a lot of international customers, we saw a whole spate of rejections this summer, and we were really kind of puzzled. And my suspicion is that maybe some of our customers who are non-native English speakers are using that to, like, write their initial thing and then have it be fancied up a little, whether it's using Grammarly or whether it's using a more like full-fledged thing. And not because they're not trying to get the real feedback, but I'm wondering if people doing things like that leads to rejections. I'm wondering how to prevent rejections, because I know that sometimes there's a variety of reasons things get rejected, but sometimes we found that there are things that we're like, gosh, was that a valid rejection? Or was that just a confusion on the moderation team's part that this is not a full-fledged user, or things like that. And so ways to prevent rejections, I think that would be very useful for, a future class or topic or whatever.
I love that suggestion. I'm actually currently working with the moderation team to make the rejection reasons a little bit easier to understand within my G2 and give a little bit more transparency to you all when those rejections come through. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to maybe connect you for some more conversations on what would be helpful, especially with that AI component, because it's definitely top of mind for our team. So I can definitely take that as an action after this to maybe connect the dots.
Oh, that's wonderful. And some of it is just suspicion on my part, and we have talked about it with our reps, and they've been great. So but it's just knowing what's going on. Is it just paranoia? Is it not? How can we, or do you need to educate people on the front end as they're leaving your review, saying, hey, you might be wasting your time if you use AI here because it might get rejected. So don't do that, for everyone's sake.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, so just moving into video reviews here. So as we all know, video is king right now. TikTok, Instagram Reels, everyone is watching video. So why not leverage that and ask your customers for a video review? So these video reviews are typically 1 to 10 minutes. And basically the person is asked 5 questions about use cases, likes, dislikes, advice. But they are asked less questions than written reviews. So that's why I said previously that you just get a broader scope with a written review. So video review submission process is quite different from a written reviews process. So like I said, reviewers are asked 5 questions, and with the help of G2, they record their video. The process is super simple, streamlined. Reviewers just have to answer the questions, and G2 takes care of the rest. So I'm going to pause here and see if anyone has any questions right now. Okay, great. So now you know how to gather reviews and the review submission process, but what do you do with them afterwards, and how can you use reviews to their fullest extent?
Perfect. It's a good question. I mean, because the collection piece is so important, we put a lot of focus on review collection, but what good is a review without sharing it out with the world? And not to mention that all reviews on G2 are syndicated across major partner marketplaces like AWS. So when that G2 review is accepted and hits the profile, it's also going into other areas and marketplaces, just getting you further coverage into the market. All right, a couple key examples here are as follows. I will start with reference pages. So these are great pages that are already set up really for you to just plug and play your favorite quotes, badges, and all in your your branding. So it's almost an extension of your profile. Your potential buyers are already comfortable and used to the profile. They've probably already been on there looking at your reviews, but maybe you're really trying to get that deal done. You can share this reference page with them. We also just recently added that badges piece and the CTA button component. So maybe that lead or that buyer has gone cold, and then they click that button, meeting them right where they are, getting them back into the pipeline. So a lot of different ways that those reference pages can be used in sales and in marketing. We also have crowd quotes. I would say crowd quotes are underutilized, and they are just that. They are little snippets of quotes and really a one-stop shop repository within MyG2 for your top quotes. So we also have this tagging functionality, which I have highlighted in the red little box there, where you're able to go through and tag your reviews based on the takeaways related to your company. So maybe your role is watching these reviews come in, you're responding to the reviews, and then maybe take it another step further and add those tags: SMB, mid-market, maybe product focused, support focused, account manager focused, just making it work for you outside of the box.
Yes, I was that person in third grade who kept raising my hand. Sorry.
All good.
But I figured that's the format, so it's okay.
Yes.
Just one thing that I think I might have opened a ticket before on, but I can't recall if I actually did that or not. It would be lovely if for crowd quotes, I have set up a bunch of different tags, and that's a great system. I really like it a lot. One thing that I would add as feedback is a lot of times I think people put more effort almost into their headlines, and we have some great snappy headlines, but we can't turn those into crowd quotes. Or I don't think we can even copy and paste them. I can't remember, but making those more usable and linking to the full review, I would personally love that. So just an
Another
aside.
amazing idea. I love that. I can definitely take it back. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Social media campaigns. I mean, Jennifer Coolidge is a queen, and they do all those badges do make you emotional because it's quite an honor to get all those reviews or all those badges. So share them on social. I go on social media every day on LinkedIn, and I see badges coming all over the place. And I think it's so cool to see that. So once, no matter how many you are able to get, I think just posting it every time you've reached that new badge is a great opportunity to just get people back onto your profile, reading, learning, and converting. All right, and then a review landing page as well. So maybe similar to that reference pages, but taking it a step further onto your website. So as a customer marketer, you probably know all of the trials and tribulations of getting case studies, testimonials, all of that good stuff. And so once you already have all of that from G2 and the reviews that you've collected, thinking about maybe adding a section to your website to showcase. So doubling down on those case studies and testimonials that you've probably gotten from your reps or internally, and then just adding another layer to it with the G2 reviews. And I couldn't go any further without mentioning custom questions, another feature that I am pretty passionate about as a product marketer myself. It's just another place to get deeper intel. You can get feature specific, product specific, persona specific, in addition to those standard review form questions. So maybe each quarter you are focusing on a specific goal, or there's a new project going on and you want to get more intel on it, and you're running a review campaign all at the same time. Why not try to get some details right there when you are already having outreach go out for some reviews?
So we've gone over a lot today, and I have just one question. What's the most exciting method of review gen that you want to implement? And you can do it as soon as this call is over, or maybe take some more time to think about it. But I'd love to hear someone just hop off of mute and give us one thing that you're excited about. Well, personally, I'm excited about the Review Us button because our team worked really hard on it and they found a simple way to get customers more reviews. And the best part is it seems to be converting at a very high rate.
What's the best place to use that review button, in your opinion, or where are you seeing people use it creatively, like so it's obvious, doesn't get lost, things like that?
Email signatures is great. Newsletters. You could even do a social media push with that, right, Nicole?
Yeah, and that new button that just released, we've seen a lot of people piggybacking off of where they're displaying their badges on their websites with that button. So when they're like, read all of our reviews or check out all of our badges, there's now that button CTA that's like review us on G2 as well. So we've seen that being implemented in a lot of more places now too on customers' websites.
And just an idea for everybody else, we've done the G2 Gives campaigns a couple of times, like in years past, and we're about to do another one this year. It's just kind of a nice like giving season type of thing, and we may hopefully do a match as well. And so that's just an idea for folks that we've done in the past and worked out. I think it got a pretty good response at least once.
That's a great idea, especially for the holiday season, asking for donations. It's a great time.
Yeah, and maybe you've done quite a few G2 review run campaigns, or you've tried a couple others, but you haven't tried a G2 Gives campaign. So maybe you try that and you reach out to a similar list and see if that's maybe what will entice them to give a review. Sometimes people can be more motivated to help others than a gift card.
Yeah, we're just popping in a newsletter.
So good.
Exactly. All right, so now we just want to open it up for discussion. If anyone has any questions or comments, we'd love to hear them.
Hi, I'm Ornella. I'm from Argentina. So I was listening you when you were talking about different countries, and I think that maybe I can give you an idea about that, especially well in my country and the rest of Latin America. Well, here we call this customer experience, like the experience management, right? The department or the business area. I think a very important point to ask customer from some other country is understanding their culture, understanding the kind of word that they use, because sometimes you can you can misunderstand that as a person of a foreign person. Besides, here we don't focus in promotion customer, the high satisfied customer. Actually, we try to focus on the detractors because, well, to be honest, we don't have many resources to keep the high satisfied customer, or to create a community to improve the connection. So that's one of the reasons why I'm trying to dip into customer advocacy and how to get more profitability from your champions. But I'm saying this because if you ask an Argentinian or someone from Latin America to ask a question and they give you a good review, positive feedback, they won't be waiting for a gift. Yeah, like you do it just because you are grateful with the brand or with the service, but you are not waiting a gift. So nothing. Maybe here that they were asking, okay, maybe we have legal issues and we can't send a gift. I think that they are happy with your brand, and the best you can say it's okay, thank you. And that could be enough at this step, because our maturity, it's not the same that they are.
Exactly. Yeah. And even in America, some people or companies have to be sensitive about offering incentives because it might not work in certain industries, or there might be certain restrictions that they have. So that's a really great point.
Yeah, I would say like I've thought recently about how government customers, people at companies that don't accept gifts, things like that, like the G2 gives, I think will also be helpful there, or just asking for a review and not offering any sort of incentive at all. And I also have I'm wondering, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I think that if it were me, I would be more likely to leave a review with my name public rather than anonymized if I was doing either G2 Gives or organic, because if it's incentivized, it's just like you don't want people to think that you're doing that, giving a professional type opinion and feedback for, just for a gift card or something. And so I bet that people are more likely to use their full name and everything in cases where it's not incentivized. That's just my suspicion though.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of that before.
Another idea for reaching without incentivizing, maybe not even with the gives. You mentioned, Erin, the QBRs, but even at renewal could be another place, or to get that ask in right there. Or when they get out of their 90-day onboarding. So kind of getting creative with however your company has structured the life cycle for your customers.
Great.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions or comments here?
I was going to ask a little bit of an unrelated question, but I guess it ties back to reviews at the end of the day. Curious if either presenters or other folks listening have any input here. So for my company, I'm kind of just taking over our review sites, and I don't think we've ever had anyone really dedicate any sort of focus on it. So it's kind of new. So we're a big software company with a bunch of different solutions. And right now we really just have 2 product profiles. We have kind of our overarching platform as a page. And then we had just acquired a company. And so we kind of edited their product name and folded that under. But there's been some debate on our teams of whether we just stick with those 2 for now, or if, we very quickly go ahead and build out product pages for each of the line of business solutions. And I guess I know there's no right or wrong answer here, but I'd be curious if there's any considerations anyone has, or if you've thought about it a certain way of, do we focus on just building up our 2 existing profiles and getting more reviews there before we go out and try to build out all these new profile pages that, we'll have 0 reviews to start. I don't know. Just curious if anyone has any gut either way on how to think about it.
Yeah, the first instinct that comes to my mind is we have product suite profiles. Have you heard of those, Lindsay?
Oh, no, I hadn't.
Okay, so they're fairly new. It's basically a product profile. However, it's for a suite of products. So it's kind of sounding, what you're describing to me is that you might be going to market now as a suite, also having your specific products that roll up into the suite. So these, if any of my friends on the call want to throw in an example of a suite profile while I talk, that'd be great. If not, I'll share one after. But those product suite profiles collect reviews at the suite level. And then during the review form asks, all of those questions will relate back to one of those or multiple products that the buyer is using within that suite. So using an example of Adobe Creative Cloud, maybe I use Photoshop and not Lightroom, and I'm a reviewer, so I write the review on the Creative Cloud, and then I select that I use Photoshop. So that review will actually display on Photoshop's profile and on my suite profile as well. So it's kind of extra coverage for those that go to market as a suite, but we're still building those suite profiles. So long and short answer is, I think it wouldn't hurt to get those profiles that are not already on G2. If they aren't, claim them. And then, yeah, you can also submit a ticket with what's the word I'm looking for? You can submit a ticket with like paperwork just to show that that's how you're going to market, all of the stuff that I don't know support asks for to get all of your products to roll up to that suite. If that's really how you're truly going to market, you want it to mirror what your website is showing.
Oh, very cool. Okay, thank you. And just to my one quick follow-up on that. So for those product suite profiles, is it typically like you need to have the product pages built first, and then you would ask for them to roll up under a suite? Like I get chicken or the egg question, I guess.
Yeah. So I would say that the first step would be to get any profile that is not on G2 on G2. And then once you're on there, then you can work with your account team, open up I think the market research team will go in there, do some more research on it and be able to really connect those dots. But without the product on G2, it might be hard for them to conceptualize it. So
yeah.
And just one thing I just learned about last week. I cannot remember the name of it, so maybe Aaron or Nicole can pipe in with that. But our contact James told me about, it's not a product suite page, but it's more of a page that has multiple products. So the product suite page displays the reviews, but this is just a page that consolidates all of the like review links for starting a review. And so like for a newsletter or something, that was something that I was interested to hear existed. I can't remember the name of it though. So it's more of the starting point page rather than the results, but that was good to know that that was out there.
Oh, awesome. Okay, thank you.
I don't know the name of that page, but I want to say it's a vendor page, but I think I will learn something for me to go back and learn.
Perfect. Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right. Anyone else have any questions for us? Okay, great. This has been a great discussion, and I do want to plug one thing. So next month we will be skipping office hours actually, because we're going to be putting on something called Reach. And so basically what it is, it's a half day of learning, and you'll hear from VCs, top executives, industry experts about the latest trends, strategies, and tactics in the SaaS world. So we'd love to have you join us there. And I'm going to go ahead and pop the link in the chat for that. And you can go ahead and RSVP your spot there. But it should be a really good one. But we'll be back with office hours in January, and we're going to be talking about 5 strategies for the new year that you can implement with G2.